all men, Southern California. This is Radio Free Los Angeles. Do you copy? Repeat, do you copy?
Now broadcasting from behind the Iron Curtain in the People's Republic of California, we bring you the voice of free men, free markets, and limited constitutional government. Welcome to citizen-sponsored Radio Free Los Angeles, with the president of the California Tax Limitation Committee, Mike Alexander, and America's funniest reporter, Carl Kozlowski.
All right. Hey, it's good to hear you guys in there again. We have our wonderful engineer, Sullivan Williams, and the whole crew here tonight. And I want to thank Brooke, who's sitting in on the phones. Call her. She'd love to hear from you. The number is 866-870-5752. 5752 is also KRLA. We'd love to hear from you. Now, for all you poor, long-suffering husbands that are sitting home watching the Winter Olympics.
Oh, no kidding.
Right.
Man.
You can sneak off and listen to something really interesting. We're going to talk about your money and your children's future instead of
figure skating and curling.
I know. It is boring.
Yes.
The only thing that's halfway interesting is that kid on the snowboard. He's kind of amazing, but I wouldn't call it the Olympics. But hey, how a man makes a living is none of my business. I'm glad. I'm glad NBC is doing well. At least it keeps them off of propaganda. We've got a great show prepared for you folks here tonight. Hey, before I forget, last week we talked about Greg Salcido. You remember him?
Yeah.
The part-time councilman and full-time idiot who purports to teach down in Rancho in Pico Rivera, who referred to military people, especially Marines, as the lowest of the low. Well, Greg, sweetheart, we're still waiting for your call. You know the number, 866-870-5752. You got it.
Positive note, though, the child that he was scolding or reprimanding, he got invited to the White House.
No way!
Did he?
Well, That's awesome.
Just yesterday or today, John Kelly invited, I believe his name is Victor, and his the parents.
All right, great. Well,
wild.
Well, the good news is he got an invitation from John Kelly at the White House.
Wow.
Now, the bad news, my friend, is that it goes through Paris Island first.
Poor guy.
Or at least San Diego.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got a great show lined up here for you tonight. If you've been reading our emails, and by the way, if you want to get on our list, go to radiofreelosangeles.net. That's Radio Free Los Angeles, all spelled out, lowercase, .net.
And you can contribute there, too.
Very important.
We've almost reached our weekly goal. We're up to, I think, $22.75.
Wow.
And our goal this week is $29.50.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so, we're going to do a little Jerry Lewis here and, tally it up as we go, I guess, and, maybe have... somebody like Dean Martin come out and sing a little bit along the way if we got to goose you guys into giving some money.
Oh, yeah. It's very good. There's a lot of themes that we've been pushing on for years and years and years. There's nothing new about our organization. TPAC, the Pasadena Patriots, California Tax Limitation Committee. We've been working on major fiscal and public responsibility issues for years and years, and it's starting to penetrate the public awareness, in particular on issues of financial responsibility, or I should say fiscal irresponsibility on the part of government and all of its minions. We're going to have an update on San Marino, Unified School District. Now, I know you guys are out there saying, oh, my gosh, what we got, a revolution going down in Gucci Gulch in San Marino? Well, yeah, we do. They can count down there, and they woke up down there and figured out that they were getting hustled for a $174 million bond that really wasn't necessary. And they had a city council meeting, a school board meeting, and the head of the school board, the president of the school board, and the superintendent, whoever he is down there, showed up to try to defend this thing. It was supposed to be the typical friendly meeting. Well, they asked, the citizens showed up asking him some hard questions, and it turns out that he didn't have very good answers. So he went to the back of the room, and and then the president of the school board, or he and one of those guys, left pretty quick, claimed he had another meeting. I'll bet. So in any event, we're going to have a citizen from San Marino. Andrew Coe is going to join us in the second half of the show. And in the first half of the show, we're going to have Vice Mayor John Harrington from San Gabriel. So down in San Gabriel, they had an agreement with ICE. That's the what is it? Immigration something enforcement.
Immigration Customs
Enforcement.
Yeah.
Immigration what?
Customs Enforcement.
Customs Enforcement. Yeah. They change the names all the time on these things. We call it ICE. So at any rate, the police chief had arrived at an agreement with ICE to deal with certain issues, and the far left wing united with the local union thugs and basically staged a huge demonstration down in San Gabriel. The citizens were for it. The outsiders were not. But in any event, we're going to let John Harrington tell you about it so that you know what's going on in your local cities. And, that brings me, ladies and gentlemen, to a key issue that we try to answer here all the time, and that is this false distinction between federal, state, and local. If you listen to this program long enough, you will find out that these are jurisdictional issues. They're different words, but in politics, functionally, they are interchangeable, and they all have as their goal growing government. So, at any rate, hey, it sounds like we've got Mr. Harrington on the line. John, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Mike. How are you doing today?
Hey, great. Once again, I want to introduce John Harrington to you, Vice Mayor, City Councilman, of course, in the city of San Gabriel. John and I have known each other for quite a while. He is a really solid conservative guy. He also happens, to have considerable financial credentials in the area of pension administration and planning. He's a real numbers guy. But tonight, John, I'd like you to tell us what was going on down in your fair city in San Gabriel, what happened, and what the takeaways are.
Well, Mike, first I'd like to start to see the amount of time you have, because if you have a short amount of time, I can give you kind of the condensed version. If you have about 5 or 10 minutes, I can give you the longer version.
Yeah, we have at least 10 minutes, John. It belongs to you. Fire away.
Okay, so what I'd like to start with is kind of a little background. In July, our chief actually signed an MOU, Memorandum of Agreement. So whenever I say MOU, it's an agreement of how we're going to operate in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is it establishes one of our police officers as a customs agent. So, ICE. It's actually, you said ICE in the beginning, and I heard that, but it's actually, the agreement is really with Homeland Security Investigations.
Aha.
So, like you said, they've reformed over the years. In 2002, after 9/11, we decided, we're treating people crossing the border, and we're treating things crossing the border, like the drugs and guns, the same, but we're using two separate agencies, which was INS and Customs Enforcement. So they said, why don't we share the data? Because, typically things don't cross the border without people, and people don't cross the border without things. So why are we wasting our resources?
Right.
So the government got one thing right once. I'll give them credit. But it's two distinct missions and two distinct functions when you're deporting people and when you're investigating crimes. And the reason I say that is the side that you talked about that came down and caused all the disturbance, what I call the outside agitators. Mm-hmm. The professional agitators. They came in and tried to intimidate our council, and they were brought in by council members. Let's make no mistake of that.
Sure.
They were actually brought in by 3 of the council members.
Hey John, could you back up for just a second? The Memorandum of Understanding, what did it say, and why was it necessary?
Okay, so in order to get access to the ongoing investigations of criminals, and in order to get to the criminal database, federal law says if you want access to this as a local agency, one of your officers at least one officer has to be designated a customs agent. So what we do is we sign an agreement saying, yes, we will send our officer to training so that they know how to use your database properly. But make no mistake, it's one of our PD officers.
Uh-huh.
But they're an investigator, and they're taught how to access the database, how to use it, what they can find in it, how to coordinate with the customs enforcement. And the idea there is they don't want people willy-nilly going through. And every keystroke has an audit trail on it. So if our officer's going in there and doing things they're not supposed to be doing, they're found out quickly.
Right.
So it's kind of a double check. If you will not or do not have an agreement with an MOU with I'll call it Homeland Security because that's really what it is.
Sure.
You lose access to that database.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Homeland Security is the second largest criminal enforcement agency in the United States, second only to the FBI.
Right.
It's just a very large agency with lots of resources.
Right.
And so our city, we can handle, there's three types of crime. There's street-level crime, there's mid-level crime, and then there's major crimes. The funny thing is, our city can handle, almost all cities can handle, the small to medium-sized cities handle the extremes. The street-level crime is easy.
Right.
That's what we do on a daily basis. And the big crimes, believe it or not, are easy. Murder, bank robberies, that type of stuff, we can handle. What goes unseen are these trafficking, narcotics, cartels. When I say trafficking, I mean human trafficking as well as drug trafficking and gun trafficking and all the stuff that can cause a lot of damage and harm to people and things.
Right.
But our street cops can't handle someone that's in, let's say they're in Texas and they traffic some humans here usually for prostitution or for labor,
right?
Illegal labor. We don't know. We have no database. This person shows up, they work here a month, and they move to the next city, wherever they're getting trafficked to, and they move on. We don't have any way to investigate in another jurisdiction. We don't have maybe even in San Marino County, we don't have any link to that.
Right.
What this does is it allows our officer, when they get a tip or they get something, they have quick access, and they can say, wait a minute, these are the same people that were operating in Arizona. These are the same people that were operating in Washington State. These are the same people operating in Delaware.
Right.
Our PD can't do that now.
Right.
After our vote on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying, and I've told this to many people, and the people that are reasonable and that will listen, you show it to them, they go, that makes sense.
Right.
The people that are trying to run for higher office and they're just trying to make political grandstands and tug at heartstrings, say, oh no, you're just rounding up immigrants and you're deporting them.
Right.
So, like you said, I'm a facts and figures type of guy, and when it comes to money, when it comes to these things, I like to use facts and figures.
Right.
So what our chief presented and what I told people is, since 2010, San Gabriel has reported to the ERO, which is the removal services. That's the side that's what people typically think of ICE is ERO, the removal operations.
Right.
So that's when people think INS. That's what became ERO.
Right.
We don't have an agreement with them. However, in the last 8 years, we've removed exactly or reported exactly 2 immigrants in the city of San Gabriel.
Right.
One got picked up at a DUI checkpoint. He had a $1 million federal warrant, so we turned him in.
Hello.
Wow.
The second one was wanted for murder, so we turned him in.
Right.
Those are exactly the 2 immigrants that we've quote-unquote rounded up.
Right.
And I can tell you, I've talked to our cops, and I talk to them quite a bit. I mean, I'm talking about our patrol guys, not the chief.
Sure.
The chief, of course, runs everything, but our cops tell us every day they deal with dozens and dozens and dozens of undocumented people.
Right.
And they do not get deported. And that's why I tell people, show me a list of anybody that's been deported in San Gabriel, because I can show it to you. It's 2.
Right.
And we started working under this MOU in July.
Right.
We busted 23 criminals
right.
under this MOU. One of them, or 2 of them, stole $50 million or defrauded $50 million from immigrants. And you have to understand, the vast majority of these crimes
yes.
are committed on the immigrant community.
Right.
Citizens aren't getting trafficked. Residents aren't getting trafficked. Residents aren't being forced into slave labor. Residents aren't getting these cartels aren't using residents to carry drugs across the border. That's
sure.
not what's going on. It's the immigrant community that gets hurt the worst.
Right. So just to back this up a little bit, this is the background. You guys run a small city in the San Gabriel Valley with a significant Asian population. You have a number of illegal or so-called undocumented immigrants of various residences, different cities, moving through your city and getting stopped. But you guys entered into a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Homeland Security to give you access to another database that would let you know who you were dealing with when you did make a criminal stop, not an immigration stop, but a criminal stop on the street. So you guys had have access, and then as a result of this, you were able to bag several significant suspects and get them to where they needed to be. And these were suspects that otherwise would have gone scot-free and would have continued to prey upon immigrants and, of course, everybody else, every other law-abiding citizen, had it not been for your practice. Now, this is legitimate. What is it that the left and the left-wing thugs that they brought with them found objectionable about this, John?
Well, it really comes down to politics, Mike. It was hyperbole.
Yes.
They're saying that we're rounding up immigrants and deporting them. And that's really not. And what they're doing is they're doing the worst type of fear-mongering. They're trying to make the immigrant community be afraid of our police rather than cooperate with our police.
Yes.
So let me just make one quick correction, and I'll go on a little bit.
Sure.
None of these were traffic stops. These were
John,
all investigations.
hang on. We're going to hold you through the break here. We got a break coming up in just a minute. We have John Harrington, Vice Mayor, City of San Gabriel. We'll continue our story here in just a minute.
If you like what you're hearing and would like to support Radio Free Los Angeles and the California Tax Limitation Committee, please call area code 626-792-1772, 626-792-1772, or kindly visit our website, catlc.net, catlc.net. You can also watch Radio Free Los Angeles on Facebook Live at radiofreela.us.
If you'd like to talk with Radio Free Los Angeles, the phone lines are wide open. 866-870-KRLA. That's 866-870-5752. We're live, local, and here to talk with you. 866-870-KRLA.
All right. Back with you. This is Mike Alexander, your friendly host here, and we're going to continue with John Harrington, City Councilman, Vice Mayor in the City of San Gabriel. John, when we left off, you were correcting one thing. Why don't you go back, cover that again, and then continue with your story? What was in these people's craw?
Yeah, so it was a quick correction, Mike, and the reason I want to correct it is because this is kind of where they were confusing it. None of these investigations, and none of these were stops. They were investigations. No one was taken out of their house. No one was taken out of their car. These were criminals that were busted under investigations that we got from working with Homeland Security.
Exactly. So this is not a dragnet. This is not a sweep. You're not going through Chinese restaurants or Mexican restaurants or the Home Depot or anywhere looking for illegals.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So that's why I want to make that very clear. These are all investigations.
Sure.
Some of the more heinous ones were, like I said, $50 million stolen from or defrauded from immigrants.
Right.
And we had a person posing as an immigration attorney, and they stole $80,000 from one lady, and then told her if she tried to report them, that they would report her to the
Right.
ICE.
Right.
And so that's the type of things I'm telling you. These are people preying, and luckily we had the resources back then to deal with this. We don't now.
Exactly.
I want to tell you the most egregious one, the one that troubles me the most.
Yes.
We found through this, we busted somebody with 30 Chinese passports for underage.
Wow. Oh, whoa. What was that, for underage?
Underage girls.
Oh, man.
You know what scares me the most? We don't know where those girls are. We only got the passports, not the girls.
Wow.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
But in the wisdom of our council, we say, let's stop cooperating with that.
Right.
And that's how they're protecting the immigrant community from our police department, by not allowing our police department to cooperate and find these 30 girls.
Wow, that's amazing. Now
that doesn't make the media somehow, and I don't get it.
Right.
Somehow, you know what makes the media? The fact that we are rounding up immigrants. And it's just someone says it, and they report it, and it is what it is.
Okay, so we might have skipped just a little bit of bear in mind. Most folks, even those who are on our list, don't necessarily know what happened. So let's set it up again. That's the background. So comes what was it, Tuesday night?
Yeah.
You've got a city council hearing. Your police chief is there. He's walking everybody through, but your city council decides to do what?
Okay, so our city council members brought in outside agitators. So we ended up having to move it to a much larger venue that holds 1,500 people. We had probably about 400 people show up.
Wow.
We had 100 speakers request cards. On average, we get 3 to 4 on a meeting.
Yes.
We had 100. Out of those 100, let me break down the numbers.
Yes.
45 were from outside San Gabriel. We ended up with 83 speakers, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long night.
It was. We were there past midnight.
Wow.
Out of those 83 speakers, 45 were from outside San Gabriel, 42 against the MOU, 3 for the MOU.
Mm-hmm.
At least 38 people that were from San Gabriel. And I know this because I wrote down every name, where they were from, and I gave them the benefit of the doubt if they said they were from San Gabriel.
Right.
And out of those we had 9 people that said they were against the MOU and 29 that said they were for the MOU.
Right. So you had full support from the citizens who pay the bills and have to live in the neighborhood. But
people who are going to be most affected.
Right. Now, who were the thugs? Who were the outside agitators? Were these union types?
So long. I can tell you the short answer was they were brought in by the Teamsters Union because I saw them out there organizing.
Right.
Common Cause California. But they brought in Advancing Justice LA, Asian American Immigrant Association, San Gabriel Valley Undocumented Youth Alliance.
You know, and the thing is, I just want to say that I went to as a reporter, I had to cover a couple of the anti-war marches back when the Iraq War was starting, and there's all these, they all say, we have 100 different lefty groups together, and typically they're 3 people that hung out somewhere, and then it's the next group is another 2 people. One was 7 people worldwide. They said a worldwide group, 7 members, in Venezuela, China, and America, things like that. It's no, it's all a bunch of, bored millennials, spoiled rotten, showing up and, I can go yell at something? Great.
Yeah, and this is the worst case because these 45 people next week will be in another small city, and they'll be in another small city, and they'll be in another small city. And all of these people that don't know why they're there, council members that may not know why they're there, don't understand this is Common Cause California trying to put their will upon every single city.
Right.
And these are not the residents of the individual cities. And they're creating I don't know in politics, the word astroturf.
Right.
Fake grassroots.
Right.
So they're doing that city by city by city. I mean, these people were coming from downtown Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley, people that are not going to be affected by this.
And it's known that they're paid for, in a lot of these cases, the lefty protesters, when they're the young ones, they're funded by, I don't know about this case, but it's known that George Soros' Open Society Foundation pays in a lot of cities for these things.
No, they're being paid, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
They were organized, and they had a big giant banner that was printed on vinyl, pre-printed.
Yeah.
So this is well organized.
So grassroots.
They were flipping people off, and they got one resident kicked out because he finally said, get that sign out of my face. And this lady turned around and started yelling in his face, and he flipped her off, and he got removed.
Right.
They accomplished their goal on that person.
Now, John, we've only got a couple of minutes left over here before our break at the bottom of the hour. Just to sum up, they had the typical left-wing rent-a-mob down there, all from outside. And this was very carefully choreographed by members of your own city council, and they successfully carried a resolution requiring that the city withdraw from the agreement with Homeland Security. And the net result of that is that you now have less access to a critical database when criminals are identified as part of an ongoing investigation. Is that correct?
Correct.
It's outrageous.
Do I have about one more minute to give you
Yeah.
what I know their next moves are, Mike? Because I can tell you I'm playing chess while they think I'm playing checkers.
You got it.
So they delivered what they needed to deliver to Common Cause so that next time Common Cause calls on these council members, they can give them what they need.
Yes.
They never delivered anything for the union yet.
Uh-huh.
The reason I say that is we're going to be building a police facility this summer. It's about a $27 million facility. And why do I say they haven't delivered to the union yet? Because all the union cares about is money.
Right.
They're going to try to put a project labor agreement on this.
Aha.
I can mark my words right now. Our council is going to have a project labor agreement put in front of us.
Yes. And when they do?
It hasn't come up yet. I'm predicting it because in order for certain council members to move up to the assembly, they have to show they can deliver it because the unions decide which Democrats get moved up.
Hey, John, we got 1 minute, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you. You mentioned the magic words PLA. It's not the Palestinian Liberation Authority. It's much worse.
Well. It's pathetic losers of anarchy.
And I'm going to have you, and I'm going to have you back on to explain it. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. We'll be back on the after the bottom of the hour.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Come in, Southern California. This is Radio Free Los Angeles. Do you copy? Repeat, do you copy?
Now broadcasting from behind the Iron Curtain in the People's Republic of California, we bring you the voice of free men, free markets, and limited constitutional government. Welcome to citizen-sponsored Radio Free Los Angeles with the president of the California Tax Limitation Committee, Mike Alexander, and America's funniest reporter, Carl Kozlowski.
All right, everybody. Thanks. Once again, this is Mike Alexander, and I want to thank Carl and Jonathan Wilson and Manny Soprano for joining us here tonight.
It's great to be here. Would rather be nowhere else.
Thanks. Same here. You know, we've all of us have been together here for a long time on this project. We want to invite you. Where should they call if they want to join the conversation?
866-870-5752.
Right. And go to radiofreelosangeles.net, all spelled out, radiofreelosangeles.net, citizen-sponsored radio. Go in there. Give me some love.
Yeah, give us a contribution. Even if it's $5, it encourages us, you know.
Absolutely.
Every dollar counts in this war.
All right, great. Hey, speaking of people who call, we do have we've got a gentleman from San Marino that we'll get to in a minute. Hang in there, Andrew. We have somebody, Gabriel. Is that Gabriel from San Gabriel?
From El Monte.
From El Monte, who wants to comment on the MOU. Are you there, my friend?
Yes, I am.
Hey, great. Well, what can we do for you? What's your comment or your question?
Well, I mean, the comment that I was that I heard, I mean, partially, regards of people speaking, you know, against the MOU and in favor of it, and some comments that I kind of found it quite disturbing about some people calling it thugs or something. I mean, I was there at the meeting.
Yeah.
You know, and both sides made valid points, you know. I'm talking valid points, not just, excuse my language, stupidity or anything. There is some that were not having their facts straight, both sides, and I do agree with you on that one. There's some that both sides brought valid points, but I mean, calling it thugs, it's kind of very. I don't know who are you referring to, but it's something that I kind of quite find it disturbing. But regarding with the MOU, I'm sorry, go for it.
You know, specifically, you know, I've been to these events many times before, and what happens is that you know, the left wingers, the unions, the discontents load people on buses, unload them at the city council meetings, and then engage in political theater. Now, it's a very thuggish atmosphere. It's an intimidating atmosphere, and it tends to chill speech. That's what it's intended to do. Now, you said that both sides made valid points. You heard what John Harrington said. He said that let's go back over so we know what it is. You said that we had people there who were making valid points. So those would be the the usual coterie of people, Save Los Angeles, the Illegal Immigrants Association, whatever the hell they call themselves down there. Right. You said they had valid points. What was that valid point?
I mean, valid points is when it comes to when you have an agreement with, well, actually, going back to the police chief, and I'm sorry if it's going to make quite a sense. Whenever a police chief is going to make an agreement, it at least should consult with the city council before making a vote, rather than just doing behind the scenes. Because I'll be honest, I'm an activist, and I've seen how, for example, I see how police chiefs were in other cities regarding to San Gabriel.
Right.
They could have said, you know what, it's rather than just word of mouth and then behind their backs. I mean, that's why you have a transparency.
Yeah.
With the city council.
Do you have personal knowledge of this situation?
Well, here's the thing.
I asked you a question. Do you have personal knowledge of what happened in San Gabriel?
Well, the question is that besides with the
the question is, it was clear. Do you have any personal knowledge of what happened down in San Gabriel, or are you speculating that this might be one of those situations where we have a rogue chief of police who somehow signs agreements with the federal government and requires that one of their employees, a police officer, becomes a customs agent, and he does this all on his own without consulting with the city attorney or anybody else, and that he's running around rogue? Is that your contention?
That's a contention, and I believe there's a bill it's an SB. There's a bill that was passed that, it's quite validated on that. At least they can consult something, because remember, there's different states have different laws.
Well, I'm having trouble following you, but I appreciate you calling in, and I hope that you call us again. Okay. Thanks very much. Now, I want to introduce my next caller here, Andrew Coe, by giving you a little bit of background on San Marino. San Marino is one of those places where we have worked for years, and frankly, we never got much of a pulse out of San Marino. It's one of the most affluent, tame, good-mannered, elite, poised communities, one of the most beautiful communities in the United States. Very well established, a bastion of conservatism, and people with wonderful values, hardworking, you name it. They never seem to be that politically active, and frankly, never seem to share our perspectives, and especially our concerns about money. We kind of thought mistakenly that those folks down there, even though they had a lot of money, didn't seem to much care about how it was being spent by the city and the rest of in the school districts. Well, I'm happy to say that I was very wrong, and over time, our efforts to expose the financial irresponsibility of San Marino was successful, and it culminated recently with the election of 3 new councilmen, a new majority, and it developed around our campaign to communicate to San Marinans the stark financial realities of their city, which is they have an unmet pension liability of $22 million that may be as high as $100 million, plus $40 or $50 million in deferred maintenance. So it's one of the richest cities in the country with 10,000 people. It's underwater by maybe $100 million or more dollars.
Wow.
Well, we always thought that said, they got awake. We thought that, they love their schools down there because they're key to property prices and so forth. And apparently, the people that run the San Marino School District felt also that the San Marino residents would vote for anything. So they decided to float another bond for $174 million. It was supposed to be real quiet. It was supposed to just be silently put on the primary ballot early June, where the primaries that aren't exciting for conservatives and so forth have a low turnout and to just go through. So they held their mandatory event there the other night. The school district president is there. the president of the school superintendent, whatever we call this guy down there at Chernus. Well, as I said, there was an ambush at Gucci Gulch. It did not go well down there. And one of the guys who was there and who was followed up is Andrew Coe, who has some cogent observations to make about that. Andrew, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mike.
Well, Andrew, I want to thank you very much for your earlier correspondence and for your willingness to come on the show. Andrew, would you first of all walk our audience through, give us a short take on the condition of the schools and what it is that this bond was supposed to do?
Well, Superintendent Alex Chernus paints a very dire situation of our school facilities. He wrote in an email, many of our basic facility infrastructures are in dire need of repair. This greatly impacts teaching and learning and must be addressed as soon as possible. But, Mike, the funny thing is, if you look at the January 2018 School Accountability Report,
right,
the San Marino High School principal wrote, San Marino High School facilities are comfortable, spacious, air-conditioned, and well-designed for instruction. Sports facilities have been, that's what he wrote, significantly upgraded. School facilities are a source of pride for our districts. They are well-maintained, clean, safe, and functional. No complaints have been filed. So why does the the district Superintendent Alex Chernus target $108 million of, major modernization projects, right?
Okay, so let's back up for...
Also wrote the same.
Andrew, hang on. So let's back up for a second for our audience. So Chernus, who's the superintendent, he's up there, and to hear him tell the story, you've got Bangladesh on the Pacific.
You've got crumbling
infrastructure.
How can the dilapidated and crumbling infrastructure be a source of pride for our district? That's what the high school principal wrote.
Okay, so...
The same thing. The elementary school principal wrote the same. Well-designed for instruction. Valentine School principal wrote the same thing, and it says, we take pride in our beautiful gardens and large grass playfield.
Yep.
Inspections show no areas of deficiency. No complaints have been filed.
Right.
So why did you need $31 million in facilities projects?
Right. Exactly. Now, as it happens, you do some of this stuff for a living, don't you? Give our audience a little idea about your own background, Andrew.
Well, I started out life as an engineer, and then I went into banking, and now I do consulting for small businesses. Business development for them, do business plans for them. If they want to start a new product, I advise them on it. I'm a certified Six Sigma black belt, so I look at process and procedures very closely.
Right.
And what I don't understand is...
So you can read and you can count. Yeah. You are their mortal enemy.
Well, actually, the bond was told to us that there was $148 million, not $170-something. But in it, one of the highest spend is a $12 million project at the middle school for the Barth Athletic Complex. San Marino taxpayers already rejected this project last year when the city council voted against Superintendent Chernus's request for a $2 million interest-free loan from the city to help with the construction costs.
Whoa!
And now it seems like a pretty sneaky way to get it back into, to go around the taxpayer wishes.
Right.
This time it's $12 million. And Mike, why does a complex that is just under construction, just started, need $12 million worth of modernization before it's even completed?
Right.
It's like, what do they expect these middle school athletes? Why do they need a $12 million complex in the first place?
Right.
Well, this Andy Boss complex, right?
Right.
It kind of reminds me of the Kevin Costner movie Field of Dreams.
Right.
If you build it, the money will come.
Right.
If the district doesn't,
exactly.
If this district doesn't have the money to complete the complex, it shouldn't have started.
Yeah.
They're going to default on payments to contractors.
Right. And we so there is a lot of sleight of hand, flim-flammery, and just flat out lying going on. Now, describe to us if
I would think that the superintendent. Okay, this assessment report, right? It says they talked to the principals, and got their input. But if you look at the school accountability report, the principals report everything is fine. They even rated the state of repair as good, the highest category,
right.
And the overall rating for all the facilities as exemplary, except for the high school, which has some air conditioning problems. But that's not $148 million. That's not even $20 million.
Right.
So shouldn't the principal and the principals, all four principals, and the superintendent and the school board get on the same page so that they sing the same song? Because right now, what they publish out there for school accountability says everything is fine.
Right.
You know, it's a source of pride of our district. So why do they need $148 million? Mike, you know, we have two bonds outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
June 2016, we still owe almost $40 million.
Mm-hmm.
And to pay these things off by 2026, the taxpayers have to come up with $52 million to pay off these two bonds that are still running.
Hey, I got 30.
We want to add another one.
Hey, Andrew, I hope I can call you back in the future. We want to continue to explore this down here in San Marino. I want to thank you very much, because in our next week we'll follow through and we'll understand how all this stuff works. We're going to ask Andrew to help walk us through it in part 2 next week. Back with you on the other side.
If you like what you're hearing and would like to support Radio Free Los Angeles and the California Tax Limitation Committee, please call area code 626-792-1772, 626-792-1772, or kindly visit our website, catlc.net, catlc.net. You can also watch Radio Free Los Angeles on Facebook Live at radiofreela.us.
If you'd like to talk with Radio Free Los Angeles, the phone lines are wide open. 866-870-KRLA. That's 866-870-5752. We're live, local, and here to talk with you. 866-870-KRLA.
All right. This is Mike Alexander back with you. Be sure to give us a call. Here, Carl, give him the number again, man.
866-870-5752. That's KRLA.
Very good. Hey, give us a call. Give us some love, too. Go to radiofreelosangeles.net. All lowercase, radiofreelosangeles.net. Click on that contribute, get us up there. We've got some more contributions.
Yeah, even $5 will wake up a councilman somewhere instead of better than you needing it on a Starbucks coffee.
That's right. Yeah, those guys are somewhere tonight listening to this, and we're going to have a special thing for them coming up here. Government Grifter of the Week.
Oh yeah.
But before we go to that, I want to thank some people, several people who've contributed here this past week. But particularly Mama Chan from San Gabriel. You know who you are. We love you very much. She's been part of our group from the very beginning. We appreciate your loyalty and your help and your assistance to keep this very important program on the air. We have many folks who help us, not the least of whom are the folks here in this room and all of our volunteers back at the office who've done so much for so many, many years. And I wish I had, it'd take me a couple of hours to walk them through here and just say hello and thank you to everybody. In fact, we had a guy named Art Decker, who was out here from Maryland. He had to stop in because, after all, we're family. Art, we look forward to seeing you this week. He's on his way back to Maryland, where he's living with his family. We've got some important events coming up. I want you to keep your eyes and ears on what's going on with the mob over there in San Gabriel. Believe me, this is a crime wave. It's a government crime wave. Remember the Principia Politica. The first goal of all government is to grow itself. That's number one. Number two, every government employee is a paid partisan political activist, and they are there to carry out principle number one, the growth of government. And you see what's going on extends all the way to the top, and hey, no surprise, they lie, and they lie a lot. And they lie at the national level, they lie at the state level, and they lie at the local level. And how many lies would you tell for $174 million? Hell, your kid will lie to you, just get a popsicle. So these people, for real money, what do you think that they would do? If it involved, homicide on their mother, well, they might hesitate a little bit, but, that's it. For $174 million, people do a lot of things. Now, we're starting to spread the word. We're going to be announcing a number of upcoming events, and one of them is coming up this coming Sunday. What's today here? It is, the 11th? So this will be on Sunday, the 18th. It'll be on President's Weekend. God, don't I hate that one. But in any event, that's what they're calling this, a 3-day weekend. But on Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m., we're going to have an event. I want you, if you want to come and meet some great people and begin to learn about these issues, and more importantly, get involved. Remember, this is not some talk show. It's not a think tank. It's not a talk tank. It's a do tank, and we do things. We were doing things down in San Marino and other places. We got Sierra Madre coming up in early April, where taxpayers are going to have an opportunity to get rid of their $2.6 million annual utility users tax. This is the chance to push back at these people and take your money back away from them. You've got to quit giving it to them. They won't use it for their pensions. They run up huge surpluses, and as soon as that happens, do they pay down the debt? Hell no. No, they give themselves more salary and more benefits, which, of course, you're going to pay higher taxes and everything else on. Now, speaking of pensions and so forth, it's now time for our Government Grifter of the Week. We have the music, please.
Ooh. Well, Mike, is my mic on? Yes.
Okay. You're on.
We had a lot of nominations this week, a lot of nominees. We had to narrow it down to 3. And the nominees are.
All right.
And they all come from the city of Santa Monica.
Okay. Man, you got the drum roll ability. You want to do a little drum roll for us?
The first nominee, the assistant city librarian.
Yes.
With an annual salary and benefit of almost $194,000.
Whoa!
And that's just the assistant?
The assistant librarian.
What is that? The person? City librarian. I'm not quite sure what they do.
And that's just for telling people, shh.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
And maybe chasing a couple homeless people.
All right.
And the second nominee.
Right.
The Beach House Venue Manager.
Beach House, yeah.
The Beach House Venue Manager.
Okay.
That
sounds like a bar. I was like, when you told me about this before the show, I'm like, what, is that a yuppie bar? But no, Santa Monica's a beach house for what?
And with an annual salary and benefits of almost $168,000.
Holy
I'm in the
mackerel.
wrong field, Mike. I quit. I'm going over there.
Right.
Is that an opening?
All right. Do we have a third nominee?
And the third nominee in the city of Santa Monica, the motor coach operator.
Oh,
motor coach operator?
How much?
With annual salary and benefits totaling $163,000.
Wow.
Oh.
For being a bus driver. That's basically a bus driver. That's what a motor coach operator is.
So this was tough to award this week's government grifter.
All right.
And the envelope, please.
Ooh. There's an actual envelope, people, and a drum roll.
All right.
The award goes to the Beach House Venue Manager.
Wow. Yes.
This is Beach House Venue Manager's first nomination and first Government Grifter Award. Congratulations, Beach House guy.
Way to go. Way to go.
Call in and claim your prize.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you dare.
Well, it was a tough field this week. And all of our entries were from Sodom by the Sea, Santa Monica. And we don't always, the easy thing would be just show how hard this crew works here. The easy thing would have been to take the low-hanging fruit. We could have just gone with, from high to low. But that's not interesting. We could have talked about the police chief here at $488,000. Yeah.
In Santa Monica, $488,000.
That's right.
That's more than the president of the United States' salary.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have a president who has a class not to even take the salary right now. But yeah.
That's right. Yeah, he does it. And the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, Joe Dunford, I think he might break too with all of his benefits and so forth.
$488,000.
Right. And by the way, and that's without his lifetime pension.
Oh.
And of his wife or
Oh, my God.
Or his husband, or whatever. We want to be correct.
Santa Monica, you never know.
Hey, come on out. They have a sense of humor, Chief. All right? So don't call me. Yeah, so, but we will have fun. We could have gone down the line. They got plenty of people out there.
I'm moving.
And their city mismanager makes $447.
Oh, my God.
$945 plus pension here. But we had some great. We even got a traffic signal supervisor at 166.
Just to make sure it goes red.
Oh, yeah.
Green. And there was another great one, too, that didn't make the cut, but the community broadband manager.
Yeah, broadband manager. What is that, a girls' band? All right.
But this
are so high tech.
This community broadband manager, I'm not sure exactly what they do.
Yeah.
But total salary and benefits annual, almost $213,000 a year.
Amazing.
Just to make sure that your internet, that your Wi-Fi is working. That's what it is.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Is it on? $213,000.
That's it. So at any rate, we got 1 minute to go. Now, whoever you are out there, broadband manager, you know who you are. Call in next week.
Please, and tell us how you earn that $213,000.
We want to know what you do.
Special training.
All right, I want to hear from the beach house venue manager.
You got it.
I want to be invited to the next party.
Hey, go to RadioFreeLosAngeles.net if you enjoyed the show. Give us some money, even if you didn't enjoy it because you're a government grifter. Send some money in.
Yeah, better us than the government, please.
Hey, we're more entertaining than the ice follies here.
And the beach house manager.
Hey, thanks for being entertainment, didn't you?
Hey, yeah, I did.
Yeah, what happened?
The monkey died. All right, guys. See everybody next week.